This is her debut middle grade. I found the audiobook on Hoopla. I was gifted a finished copy of it by Scholastic, but I figured since I'm at work today is... At my house is the hot fire. I don't know, understand, like, how I clean this house literally, and 48 hours later, it's like, well, what was the purpose? Good morning. Okay, so this is, once again, this is not how I typically start a vlog, but I don't know, I'm gonna keep an eye and start tracking. I had another rough headache yesterday. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure I think I have an idea what's causing it, but I'm not 100% sure, and so I'm gonna see if that's what's causing my headaches. I feel fine now, but I was not feeling great yesterday. So we are starting this vlog in the car because I didn't want to wait until this evening to start the vlog, because yeah, we're gonna try to do better about getting more clips this week. That's what we're gonna try to do. So basically this vlog, the theme of this vlog is July Noir. July Noir is this week, and so we're going to focus in on predominantly reading books by Black authors in mystery, thriller, and horror. That is my end game. That is my goal. I will already tell you, July Noir, I was about to say blackoween. July Noir started on Sunday. This has not been my jam. This has not been my week. This has not been what I've needed in my life these past couple of days. It has not been going super well, but it's okay. I feel like a little bit better today. I think today is going to definitely be, we're going to speak it into existence. Today is going to be a much better day. So I haven't really been reading much of anything. I read a graphic novel, Marissa Meyer's new graphic novel, and that definitely is not counting for July Noir. I just need to get that out the way because it was due this morning. And so during my Patreon sprints last night, I was like, I'm just going to read this Marissa Meyer book and get it out the way. Today, however, I am going to be focusing in on reading Blood in the Water by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is her debut middle grade. So she typically writes all young adult, and this is her debut middle grade. I found the audiobook on Hoopla. I was gifted a finished copy of it by Scholastic, but I figured since I'm at work, today is the day in which I'm going to be most heavily glued to my computer. I'm probably going to go ahead and listen to it. It is not a long book. The audiobook is like 4.5 hours long. That's not long at all. This is like a true middle grade. I was telling my patrons this last night. True middle grade book in the sense that we are really making sure that in terms of content and actual reading level, the way in which this book is structured, when I opened up the physical book, I was like, okay, this is what I'm used to. Middle grade in the past few years, and not even the past few years, it's been a thing, because I hate to bring the series up, but historically I am bringing it up, right? Harry Potter kind of set the trend for these excessively long middle grade books, right? But there was a different generation of readers at that time. We're talking about readers collectively that definitely powered through books like that like it was nothing. I think with the pandemic and what we are seeing right now in our educational system here in the United States, those books are not as effective anymore, right? Even the Shannon Messenger with the, I forget the name of the series. Liv is reading the series right now. The Lost Cities. That series is really, really long, but that series started coming out in like the early 2010s, right? Same thing with Warriors. Like, I'm reading the Warriors Super Editions right now. Super Edition is over 500 pages. Those books were coming out in the early 2000s, early 2010s. And now that we're in the 2020s, it's a little different. The way that these kids read, and I only know this from like a collection standpoint and watching what circulates and hearing feedback from other librarians about the fact that kids are struggling with these books that are 400 or 500 pages. Not every kid. We still have our readers, like very, very voracious readers who fly through anything and everything, but there is this trend of them not being able to make it through these books. And so I was very excited to see that she kind of leveled this in a way that makes it, I think, just a tad bit more accessible than some things that I've been seeing that have been targeted towards a middle grade audience. So that's going to be my focus for the day. I have a graphic novel by Roseanne A. Brown that's a part of the Are You Afraid of the Dark series that I think I'm going to pick up too. The way that I'm doing July Noir this year is that I've been having a tough time, and so my focus is primarily just to highlight these Black authors that write in these specific genres. I'm going to see what fits within the prompts. Typically, I only stay within like 2 areas, and I need to do so much better. I have read stuff that works for each one of the areas on the Tula Parish map. However, I definitely, Ruby's Crew is always my sweet spot because I adore Ruby's Crew and Shishi's Kitchen, which was recently added. Like, those are like my 2 areas where I feel like I hyperfixate. I do think that I've done a little bit in Noir Apothecary, but typically I like to highlight these authors, and then I think after the fact, I'll see like what figure, like if anything that I'm reading, like what prompts it kind of fits into. I usually participate in Blackoween, like my end game is always to read all the group reads, and I'm so appreciative of Bree to allow me to like kind of help with that. Those are always, so I'm always reading a book that fits with each one, but like anything extra, I always feel like I gravitate heavily towards Ruby's Crew. And so once again, I think that's probably what you're gonna see me gravitate heavily towards is Ruby's Crew. I may pick up a couple of things between the next couple of weeks that focus in Shishi's Kitchen, but we'll see. But either way, I'm excited. This is going to be fun, and I will check in when I have an update because I have to get into the office. It's time. I got here early just so I could film this clip. I did. I got here early so I could film this clip, and now I have like a minute, so I need to go, but I will check it later.
Like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We're gonna light it up.
I am tired. I am sleepy. I am tired. I am sleepy. I am oh, I am so tired. I'm like exhausted. I'm exhausted, but I was trying not to pull the, oh, I didn't update Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Listen, that has been my track record, and I'm like, yeah, girl, like, no more. We can't do that anymore. We're not doing that. So, hey, hello, how are you? I'm here with another update, and I'm delusional. After I film this clip, I'm about to take a shower and get in bed. I don't know why I'm so tired. Well, I know why I'm so tired, but it's kind of like low-key, like TMI. I literally got 7.5 hours of sleep last night, but it's around that time for me to start feeling my energy kind of be depleted and feeling really exhausted. I'm hoping that in the next week my energy kind of rose back up. But so sorry if this is like low vibrations, low energy, just keeping it 100. But I did want to give y'all an update. So first things first, I'm the realist. Let's talk about what I've been reading this week, right? We are in the midst of July Noir. I have not been in the Discord. I have been barely in my own Discord. I have been working like I don't know what. My house is the hot fire. I don't know, understand like how I clean this house literally, and 48 hours later it's like, well, what was the purpose? Besides my sanity, because cleanliness is next to godliness. And oh my goodness gracious, looking around, it's not even, for me, it's clutter. It drives me insane. I think I get overstimulated by clutter. I don't know if that's a thing, but I feel overstimulated when I see too much stuff around at one time, which would make you think I feel overstimulated by my workspace. I've learned to live in it, but because it's just a part of the job, there's books everywhere all the time and not necessarily always organized. And I'm like I was trying at the last minute to clean my desk off today, and I had to go, and I was so frustrated with myself. I was like, holy crap. It's just like messy. It's just messy. Anyway, y'all didn't ask for that. So I actually have this bingo template, right? Bree has created these wonderful prompt sheets and bingos for every one of the locations. And it was funny because I was talking to my patrons when we had sprints on Monday, and I was like, I feel like, and maybe I could have said this in a clip also on, was it yesterday? I think I said this in a clip yesterday, maybe, or maybe it was Sunday. Who knows what day it was, but I'm sure there's a clip in this vlog where I specifically talk about the fact that I always stick to Ruby's crew whenever I do July Noir or I do Blackoween, and I have yet to reach my grand searcher status, right? And I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, screw this, because before I was like, oh, I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, and I'm still not. But I created the sheet, which I will print out tomorrow and I will show y'all, with every single prompt from all the locations, right, for Tulare Parish. I think the only one that I didn't get was Shishi's Kitchen, all of them, because that is the one location that does have an extra prompt that's not a free space. So the prompt that I think I didn't include was read a book by a Black woman, and I predominantly read Black romance, so I know that's check mark for me. There's that. But I was like, this just might be the year. Okay, this just might be the year where your girl is. I'm gonna do grand. I have to. In Grand Searcher, you have to read 5 or 6 prompts from every location. Honey, listen, I'm finna do it. I gotta do it. I know that I can do it. And what you do in July Noir can count towards Blackoween in October. Bree, if I'm incorrect in saying that, please correct me. But I'm like 99.9% sure that, yes, it does carry over. So I am still reading flexible, right? Anything that my pretty little heart desires. But I am thinking in the grand scheme of things where these books can fit into the prompts. So I'm not going to say where they fit for right now because I don't have the sheet in front of me, and I want to get a better idea of what they will look like on the sheet that I created. But I did end up finishing Blood in the Water by Tiffany D. Jackson, and I must say she did a good job to drop down an age category, to go from predominantly writing teen books to writing a middle grade book. It is a change because they are two very different audiences, right? The way in which you write a middle grade book is not going to be the way that you write a teen book, because developmentally they are on two different spectrums, and she did a great job. This focuses on a main character who ends up, her name is Kaylani, and she ends up having to spend the summer with family friends in Martha's Vineyard. Now, her father in the beginning of the book you find out very quickly that he's been incarcerated based off of some fraudulent things that have happened. And so she is very interested in law. She's very observant, and she's spending the summer, and she's, hesitant as anybody would be, spending time with family, friends, and, getting there. The vibrations are not exactly right. And she's more concerned about being able to still communicate with her father because they have a great relationship, and trying to figure out what she can do to, get him exonerated, because she knows in her heart to heart that her father did not do the crime that he has been convicted of. Like he didn't commit that crime. And while she's there, she ends up interacting with these other kids that are not always great. And they go out one evening, not supposed to be going out. They go out one evening. Something goes left between two side characters, and another side character ends up dead. They find a body. And so this is a mystery. I know that when I first saw this, I don't really go into books reading any type of synopsis, right? I kind of hear buzz about certain things. I did not realize that this was going to be more of a mystery than a horror, which is fine with me. Like, she does both, which I absolutely appreciate. And mystery thriller. And I love the different aspects that Tiffany weaves into her books, right? Whether we are talking about historical references, especially when we're talking about Black history, whether we're talking about social commentary, she does a very, very good job weaving all of that into there. I think that for me, reading this as an adult, of course, I think there were elements of it that I saw coming. When we get that final reveal in the end, I was not as shocked as I think I would be if I was younger reading this. But I did end up giving this 4 stars. Do not get me wrong. This is very well written. I think that just the tone of it, the pacing of it, this is one that I definitely am going to be recommending to coworkers to keep an eye out for, and to definitely think about recommending when we're looking at mystery thrillers, like those kiddos that love those stories. This was good. I think I always get a little nervous when I see authors start to switch age categories and genres, especially when they have built their brand, for lack of a better term, and their skill set is so strong in one specific area. You get nervous thinking, like, can this really match the energy of what they've done before? And honey, yes, this definitely matches that energy. So I was like, you know what? I'm kind of on a low-key like Tiffany D. Jackson kick, and so I decided to continue with books of hers that I haven't read. I think this is the only book on my shelf by her that I have not read. This is the last one that I haven't read. This is not the last book of hers that I haven't read, but the last one that I own that I haven't read. And I did receive this one as an ARC when it originally came out in 2022. And this is The Weight of Blood, which is it is a reimagining of Carrie. And this book is hard, y'all. I am about 50% into this book, and when I tell y'all this book is harder to read than what I anticipated, because not only is this a Carrie retelling, right? This is not a straight Carrie retelling in the sense that we are just getting an updated version of what King did with Carrie. Tiffany skillfully wove in the conversations about segregated proms. Like, I don't think people realize that segregated proms were still a thing in the 2000s. Like, this was not something that only happened in the 60s, right? This was a part, like, this was going on even when I was in high school. And it's, oh God, it's aggravating to know that the basis for a lot of people in doing this was it's always just been tradition. It's just what we do. And it's like, no, it's not tradition. It's not just what you do. It's rooted in racial bias. It's rooted in racism. It's rooted in hatred. So this focuses on a teen by the name of Maddie. And Maddie is biracial, but she's been able to pass as white for most of her life. And there's reasons why she is essentially forced to pass for white. And I think that what I struggle with so much with this book, what's making this such a hard read for me, is that we're getting the perspective of the kids that do not like Black people. There's no way to sugarcoat it. They are racist. They have been taught to be racist. It's been passed down from generation to generation. And just hearing how they perceive Black kids, how they perceive Maddie, it is it's tough. And then also we're in the perspective of I forget what his name starts with a K, and I don't know why I can't remember his name. Is it Kenny? It's so hard being in Kenny's head sometimes, because he's been conditioned to go with the flow and not to be in touch with his blackness. He has internalized hatred of blackness. There is an anti-blackness within him, and it's hard, and we're watching him kind of work his way through that and recognize the fact that his so-called friends really just don't like you, right? These are the friends that say, like, I like you, but I don't like black people, right? You are their token black friend. And knowing that he's been placed in that position, it's a hard pill for him to swallow. And it's his connection to Maddie, right? It's what connects the two of them. I don't know, because I didn't read the synopsis of this. I had already heard for a while that this was a reimagining of Carrie, but I don't think that I thought that the social commentary was going to be so heavy, and that we were going to get these very intense moments where, you know, oh gosh, we're going to get these very intense moments where black children are degraded so openly, and down to someone showing up in blackface. It just, I think it's because of the climate that we're in right now that makes this, I mean, not saying that if we weren't in this climate, this book wouldn't be hard, but I think it's heightened emotion for me. And so this is an intense read. It's been a journey, and it's been, I'm not gonna lie to you, that book is tough. And I think it's because it was so unexpected, and it's uniquely written in that we are getting these podcast elements to it, along with the switching and the narratives or perspectives of the entire situation, and insight to things like telekinesis. And it's a lot, and I'm interested to see what her spins are going to be on it, because I have read it. Now ask me, will I pick up a King book now? 99% no. But I have read it. I think I read Carrie probably when I shouldn't have. I was young when I read that book. And knowing how that book ends, seeing the original film, and then seeing a variety of adaptations of that, I'm curious to see how that book in itself, like with the twist that she's added to it, like how it's going to unfold. So about 50% through the way of that. I probably will end up finishing that tomorrow. And I'm about halfway through this graphic novel, Sinister Sisters and Other Terrifying Tales. This is by Roseanne A. Brown. And this is a part of the Are You Afraid of the Dark graphic novel series. This one just came out. Did this one come out this year, or did it come out at the end of last year? I know that the first one in this series, which I did read this year, came out last year. Yeah, this one came out this year. And it is a story within a story, right? So it's done in true Are You Afraid of the Dark fashion, where we are following a group of kids, right, who are telling scary stories. And so we have a set of twins. One twin keeps sneaking out of the house. She's not really communicating with her sister, and her sister's like, yeah, you know what, you're lying, like something about this situation in you is just not right, and I don't like that, because we're twins, we're sisters, you know, we're supposed to be better than that. She finds out her sister is a part of this group, I believe they're called the Midnight Society, where they engage in telling each other scary stories. And so as part of their initiation process, like, you have to tell the scariest story that you can tell, and that will allow you to be a member. And so they have the twins compete against each other. So the first one that we got was, I don't even want to tell you what they're about. How about I don't do that? I'm not going to tell you what they're about. Just know that I made it through the first story, and we've started the second story. One thing about these is that they do bring on different artists for each story. So if you are someone who reads graphic novels or comics and art changes really bug you, this may not be the series for you. Now, I already knew that the art was going to change, not only because the artists are listed on the bottom, but because it was also the same in the first book, where we had different artists attached to every single story, which I think is good because it is exposure for different artists. And because the stories are so drastically different from each other, it doesn't bother me as much, because I can be one of those people that gets irritated when art shifts in the midst of a story. But these are not necessarily cohesive stories. They are stories stories within stories. So yeah, so these are the 3 that I am currently working on for July Noir. After I finish The Weight of Blood, I am thinking about doing Kay Ancrum's new book that dropped this year. Hold on, let me find the name of it. It is called, because of course I don't ever, as Ashley having her stuff together is just a unique thing. The Corruption of Hollis Brown, that's a possession story, and it is a tad bit shorter than The Weight of Blood, but I do want to get to that one because the only other possession story I think I've read is The Taking of Jake Livingston. That was the last teen possession story that I read. So I am interested in reading that one next. What happens after that? I don't know. We'll just take it day by day and see what happens. As always, I haven't really actually been reading much of anything else. I think I have been just really focusing on getting things done for July Noir. But at some point, I hate to do this because I do this in every single video. But hey, you know what? We're going to do it. I do need to go ahead and finish up this super edition of Warriors 5-Star Quest. I need to go ahead and finish this because I do want to move on to the next one in the series, which for me, in terms of the reading order that I'm doing, the next one in the series for me is going to be Blue Star's Prophecy. And like I said, these books are longer because they are 500 pages long a piece, but I do want to end up moving on to that next one. So we'll see how everything goes. We're just taking it day by day, and I will check in with y'all when I do have another update.
Hey, what the hell? Why you hanging on the rooftop by yourself? I have an open invitation, but you're telling me go get lost. I don't wanna see your face. Yeah, what the hell? So why don't we stay?
Hello, we need to chat. I did have my bonnet on because I am showered and ready to get in the bed, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to let my hair breathe just for a little second while I do this final clip for this vlog. One, I'm sure that this vlog is much shorter than any of the vlogs that I've done so far in terms of weekly vlogs. It is up late because I was not going to get this posted on Sunday. Quite frankly, I didn't want to rush to get it posted on Sunday. I was doing good, and then life hit, as it does sometimes on Thursday, because the last update that y'all probably got from me was on Wednesday. On Thursday when we got up, I was upstairs and I was like, it feels kind of warm up here, but heat travels up, and so I didn't really think much of it. I didn't wake up really like super uncomfortable or anything like that. When we got downstairs, I was like, it feels humid down here. And actually, I really didn't notice until we were walking out the door, and I realized I had a moment to pause, and I was like, hold up. Yeah, this feels weird. And so I went to go take a look at the thermostat, and I had the thermostat set on 74, and it was 79 in the house. And I was like, great. So first instinct, of course, check the breaker just to make sure nothing weird happened. So I did that, reset the thermostat, realized it wasn't the thermostat, went outside to check the unit outside, and I was like, okay, well, I can't solve this problem now. I'm gonna have to call a technician because I pay this company monthly and they service me twice a year. They do visits twice a year just to make sure everything's up in order. They change filters, all types of stuff, and I've been using them since I moved into this house because at one point my heat went completely kaput in the middle of winter. And so they have great technicians who are always so nice and just will explain everything, just really, really kind folks. And so I figured, well, after I drop my kid off, I'll get in contact with them and ask them to see if they have anybody who could come out, because you're able to contact them 24/7. Like, I've had technicians out here pretty late. The great company, and I get a member discount and stuff, and they're like, yeah, no problem, we'll get somebody out there. And I was like, well, can we get somebody out there after 4 o'clock? I'm gonna see if I can leave work early, but I'm not at home. Like, I'm not gonna stay home and wait for a technician. Come home, technician meets me here on time. Really, really sweet guy. He's testing everything out, cleaning stuff out, and he explains to me exactly what went wrong. I had a block in my drain, and what ended up happening was that he had to clean it out, and because the outside unit kept trying to kickstart itself, it ended up overheating and frying a piece of the unit. So we had to replace that, had to clean everything out. And he comes up to me, he was like, it's $611. And I was like, I just want to give y'all just a small example of how horrible that is for me, because I think that I'm a person that likes to save money, and I do not receive any type of assistance, right? I think everybody pretty much knows that. I really don't share too much. Also, I'm super private about certain things, but in order to give you context for why this vlog is kind of weirdish in terms of the clips, and then me being not really posting on time, posting per the schedule that I have set. Simply, as simple as 1, 2, 3. $611 as a random fee that comes up when you're also paying for every other bill in the house and for your child to go to summer camp. That was a tough pill to swallow, and it sent me into a spiral. I already was not feeling great. You could tell at the beginning of this vlog, I was already having a tough time previous to coming into this vlog. These last couple of vlogs, I have been having a really, really tough time, personally. And this kind of just sent me over. I was like, you know what? I just feel like I can't win. I am in a position right now in my life where there's no one for me to call, right? So it's on me. And that doesn't say that I don't have friends that support me or anything like that, but I don't have immediate family to call, right? In situations like that, I don't have anyone that I can depend upon. Everything is on me. And if you know anyone, or if you're a person who's ever been in a position like that, it's very tough, right? Mentally and emotionally and even physically, it is a lot, knowing that you are in a place where so much responsibility is on you. It makes you a very strong and independent person, but it can also make situations feel very isolating, right? I could not afford to drop $611 randomly out of nowhere. I'm very calculated about how I spend my money, right? You've heard me say before, oh, I've had a little wiggle room, and so I can do this and I can do that, right? And that comes from very detailed budgeting of knowing where money is getting pulled out and for what. And so for that to happen, that unexpected expense, right? I was able to pay for it, whatever. And thank goodness it wasn't the entire unit, but still seeing $600 just disappear like that, you're kind of like, oh, okay. Wow. So it weighed heavy on me, and I was already not okay. And so I was just I literally I felt like I couldn't win in that moment. And surprisingly, I went to work the next day, was perfectly fine. My energy's still been up, but it was so draining. I didn't want to read. I doom scrolled, which I rarely do. I did. I doom scrolled. I was very disconnected. And I don't know, like my energy was down. I just haven't felt like doing a lot, and I had to take my kid to a birthday party yesterday. I had to take her to my job yesterday because she finished her summer reading and I wanted her to go ahead and get her prizes. And so last night after that, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, like I laid on my couch, watched, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of this TV group called Cinepals. Love them down. They're so great. They react to movies, and I watched them last night react to The Temptations, which is a comfort movie for me. If you didn't know, as a kid, I was obsessed with The Temptations. Like, we're talking read the biography that Otis Williams wrote, like just super obsessed with them as a group. Love that movie so much, and I watched them react to both parts of the movie. Fell asleep on the couch, woke up this morning, realized I needed some meal prep for my lunch this week, cook dinner, do my kids' hair. I was like, I am not going to rush to get a vlog up. Like that is, it just became the least of my priorities. Like this vlog definitely took a back seat to life this week. And once again, I come to you with a vlog saying like, this is reality, right? I think that it's easy as a content creator to highlight and showcase the best parts and talk about all these amazing things and and really like, I'm a human like everybody else, and sometimes my life takes a shit spin and there's nothing I can do about it. Like this week honestly was completely out of my control, and the only thing I could do was just go with it. Just go with it, allow things to happen the way they were supposed to happen, and just try to keep my energy up to the best of my ability. So getting clips for this vlog, reading, all of that took a backseat to putting my energy into being as present as possible, because I still have a kid that I have to take care of, right? I don't get to just fall apart and become dysfunctional. That is something that I can't do, and I don't have the luxury of doing that. And so other things have to I can't give my energy to that, because my energy must be curated specifically for making sure that she's good and that the environment for her is still safe, and loving and caring, and I'm still completely checked in, right? So when my energy was going towards that and keeping myself level, I checked out on this because this was not what was most important in the moment. But I say all that to say I haven't recovered from the shock of that. And the tech was so nice. He was just like, I know. And I'm kind of like, yes and no. Like, because it's like nobody wants to randomly drop that much money on it, unexpectedly drop that much money. But also like, it's not like I'm calling up a partner or even my parents at this point, right? To say like, hey, I'm in a tight bind. Can someone like that? All of that's kind of off the table. So you figure it out. You navigate these experiences by yourself, which it can be tough, but I say all that to say, I didn't want to scrap this vlog because I did read this week. I didn't read as much as I typically read because, once again, like, who the hell was going to pick up a book after having all that stuff happen? But I did talk about me reading. I'm trying to put all this stuff to the side. I did talk about my read of Blood in the Water. I ended up giving that 4 stars. I really did enjoy that for July Noir. I have that bingo sheet that I was talking about, but I didn't get the chance to print it out, and what I'll do is I will showcase it better in October, right, when blackoween actually happens, and I can put the pieces of the puzzle together. But what I was saying earlier is it literally is just a sheet with all of the prompts for each of the locations, and all I want to do is print out the pictures of the books that I've read for July Noir, because July Noir is still going on, even though the vlog that you will see going up next Sunday is actually going to be a read it or unhaul it. I still will be trying to get some stuff done for blackoween or July Noir in the background, but I'll focus primarily on showing that come time time for Blackoween. We did finish the next Heidi Heckelbeck book, which I've been doing a horrible job updating these on Goodreads. I'll have to do that. We finished book 6, which is The Secret Admirer, this past week. We're currently in the midst of reading book number 7. I did also end up finishing Tiffany D. Jackson's The Weight of Blood. I gave this one 4 stars. I talked about this one in one of my previous clips, and let me tell you, even though I expected the ending in this, like if you know Carrie, and I kind of see where some of the criticisms of this come from, where she doesn't necessarily deviate that much from the original work. But even so, I think the emotional aspects of this were a lot more for me than what I anticipated. Even knowing how the original story goes, I think when you add that element of racism and colorism and texturism, and also this question about being black enough in black spaces, and goodness gracious, like it was a lot. I mean, it says the weight of blood, right? And I think in this, like, the weight of blood is not the weight, like the literal weight of blood as in, Carrie, how much that blood weighed on her. I think the weight of blood is very much so a metaphor for the weight that comes depending upon the blood that runs through your veins, right? Your background, your ethnicity, your race, your heritage, your nationality, like where you come from, your culture, like the weight of that blood. And just, there's so many discussions right now. I think that also because I've been keeping up with everything that's been happening with Love Island. Do not judge me, but it's all over my timeline, and probably because I have train the algorithm to push me anything that's Love Island related. But there are some great conversations right now about misogynoir, and how black women who go into the villa, specifically dark-skinned black women, how society perceives them, and what happens to them and their experience. And I think we see some of that discussion in here as well, especially coming from Kenny's sister. But this took me on an emotional roller coaster that I didn't anticipate, and I ended up giving that one 4 stars. And then I also did end up finishing The Sinister Sisters and Terrifying Tales, which is the second book in the Are You Afraid of the Dark graphic novel series. This was good, and it was kind of spooky. It kind of had a little element there. I was like, oh gosh. But this is great, I think, for any middle grade reader that's into graphic novels, it's into horror. And I love, once again, I think I said this about the first one, I love that these stories now are getting kind of a remake, in the sense that we're hearing from more diverse voices. In this one, for example, Roseanne A. Brown. I don't know why I want to call her Anne. Roseanne A. Brown. I mean Anne, but I want to say Roseanne Ann Brown. Roseanne A. Brown was born and raised in Ghana before she moved to the United States as a kid. And so we get a lot of those cultural references in the framework of this story, which I think is great. I absolutely love that. I think that that gives these stories in the series a different twist, and I've just really enjoyed my reading experience. I did start King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. I probably will carry this over into the next week. I am enjoying it. That's all I'm going to say. I've heard very, very great things about that one. I didn't get to my Kay Ingram book. I don't know if I'm going to get to that one for July Noir, or I probably will end up reading it even before Blackoween. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening, because I did start a middle grade book that has nothing to do with July Noir, but I needed to read it because it's due back through Libby really, really soon, and I've been putting off reading it for a while, and it's Cincinnati Lee Cursebreaker. It's a middle grade mystery that gives me Indiana Jones / Mummy vibes, but has some great social commentary about the issue with people obtaining relics unethically. It's very, very well done. I am enjoying it. I'm about 37% in, so my focus primarily probably via audio for the moment will be to finish that up. But other than that, like, that was pretty much my reading week. I know it seems like girl, but you said you didn't read. I know. And this is my problem, right? When you read a lot, like a lot, and then you have a slower reading week, and then you come back and you be like, oh, I didn't read a lot. And then you're like, I mean, I read like 4 or 5 books, but I was in a reading slump. People look at you like you have 10 heads, and I understand why. I genuinely do. But this was a slow reading week for me. I was hoping to get more accomplished, but unfortunately, like, this is all I can get done, and that's fine. It's perfectly fine. It is what it is. It happens, and we move forward. So, as always, if you like this video, let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe if you want to see more content, if you're interested in following me on social media, or if you're interested in supporting the channel. All those links will be down in the description box below as well, and I will be back with another video soon.